for some early stage startup companies in New York. Loved the startup life and technology. Was always very passionate about science. Went back to school at Columbia. Got a master's degree in biotechnology and then a PhD working at the intersection of genetics, neuroscience, and bioinformatics.
Did you work with Helen? Goodness, I'm blocking on her last name. Helen, is it?
No, Oliver Hober at the medical campus.
She's
but now
at the
he's
engineering school, she's biomedical.
Oh, I see. So yeah, I love spending time in Columbia. I know that's where you guys are from. So built a product that the researchers to analyze their whole genome sequencing data with no bioinformatics knowledge. So I really saw the power of tools applied to science, the kind of impact that could have. Really got into data science and machine learning. Joined a program after the PhD that transitioned STEM PhDs into data science careers. Met Sam on the first day. We really hit it off. Sam is a math PhD and a software developer. And we started working on this project, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. Steve graduated from Stern here. He has an MBA. So a lot of business and sales expertise. And we're child.
We grew up together.
Okay.
So that's the team. What we're working on is Bering. So we're the data analytics platform for science. So we let you navigate and evaluate scientists and their research. So if you're a department head at Columbia or NYU, you need to evaluate your faculty for resource allocation, funding, hiring, and tenure decisions. And so this is a tool that lets you do that.
So what you usually do is get a self-report from them each year.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right, and this is better because?
Well, so they send out emails to their peers, they get reports on everybody.
Stacks of resumes.
Yeah, that's just for like a tenure review, for example.
Right.
But for funding, for outside funding, you don't have an efficient way of comparing your staff to other staff. You can't compare your NYU genetics department to Harvard and say, this is how we compare, you should give us money, this is how well we've taken money in the past and produced output in the form of papers or citations.
So you
or
kind of
impacts.
can. I mean, there are ways of doing like that.
It's a
I'm
tremendous-
hoping this is a
exactly.
lot easier.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
You have to have 10 windows open and you
It's
have
very
For
manual.
example,
It takes
yeah.
a lot of scientists' time.
Yeah.
Department heads ask their peers or people in the department to find comparable researchers. It takes a lot of time and energy, and it's not, the data isn't present in one place where you can do all the kinds of comparisons that you can do with a tool like ours.
So you can also do kind of semantic search, the idea that you wanted to find young female researchers studying genetics,
right.
because you're building a team and you need to.
So you want to pool for a search
Exactly.
or something.
So this kind of effort, we typed in one phrase and we actually get young female researchers studying genetics, is something that would take a tremendous amount of effort.
Imagine trying to figure that out.
And what you're seeing
now.
here is you're collecting all this different data. You have research interests that we've actually extracted from their work instead of using archaic department names. You have publication as well as funding information, and you have demographic information
So you're
and
using
pictures.
existing citation indexes.
Exactly. So we're using data from many different sources, publication databases, government websites with funding, unstructured university websites, and we're collecting it all, structuring it, cleaning it, and putting it together in a single place that can be searched, sorted, and filtered. And we have an analytics layer. So as you can see, provide analytics. We can provide graphs over time, comparisons of researchers to their groups. So individuals, you don't want to compare someone who has 50 years has at a lab and is a Nobel Prize winner to a brand new researcher. So we're going to normalize them so that it's actually apples to apples. So all of these things are tremendously inefficient today. And it's slowing down the progress of science to do that. And what we want to do is give people access so they can actually
Do you
improve.
really know that it's slowing down the progress of science?
Absolutely.
It takes the time.
Well, but I mean, okay, so you're doing a search. Who's doing the search? So that's the question I
So
ask you.
the
If you're a department chair
department chair.
and you're doing a search, it's not that often. I mean, it's, we do 80 a year. We have a big faculty, we have 160 faculty. It's not like our faculty can't handle 8
Right.
searches,
Right.
So I assume you're also marketing to pharma and other people who
Yes.
are doing searches.
Yes.
So that.
Pharma grant agencies,
Yeah.
grant agencies
Okay.
give billions of dollars a year. A lot of it's on the grant-based system. 40% of researcher time is spent writing grants. That's
Yeah,
a huge
so
inefficiency.
And the grant agencies would use this
Exactly.
to evaluate the PIs?
Exactly.
Here's another thing that you
Okay.
can't do today is comparison. So once you centralize all this data, you can start allowing people to build baskets of researchers arbitrary. NYU's genetics versus Harvard's genetics. Or this random collection of researchers that I'm reviewing right now to this other collection that I'm considering, and actually compare them head to head and actually look at their statistics. If you wanted to do this today, you would waste a lot of time doing this. You'd have to gather all this data from all these different sources. Spreadsheets, maybe sharing with multiple people. The idea is that when you centralize this, you give people a bunch of leverage over this data. And then another thing they're doing is analytics. We're extracting further information from the data. So we're basing their research interests, so we have keywords, right? These keywords don't come from archaic department names. They come from actual people's work.
So I worked in the Department of Biochemistry for Oliver Hobart, but we didn't know biochemistry. So it makes no sense to compare us to other biochemistry labs. It makes sense to compare us to other labs doing similar kinds of things. So it's a very powerful tool for researchers themselves. They want to find who their collaborators could be, or who competitors could be.
But you know they would never get a collaborator through. I mean, it's all who they know and their associations.
No, but so this is how you change that, right? You let them discover, like, for example, Oliver was a very good geneticist, but didn't have experience in whole genome sequencing deeply.
And what about that would tell them whether the person was easy to work with and
but
a
you
good collaborator?
Well, so on the personal level, of course, is difficult, but at least you can find who the top people are in the field, and that's not something that you can easily know.
And also,
unless you're going to conferences all the time, have that somehow stacked and referenced, and even then, that's incomplete, right?
Yeah.
And also, if you see a paper and you're like, oh, I'm interested in finding this guy, and it's Raj Singh.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 Raj Singhs, so these guys have created a name disambiguation program that triangulates, and you can find the correct Raj Singh using this tool.
Which is a huge actual effort, especially for common names. So when you get data from multiple sources, making sure that, as Steve pointed out, like a J. Cho, there's many Cho. Cho's a very common last name.
Right.
Some papers only have first initials. So that's actually a hugely non-trivial problem. So all of these aspects, when you centralize the data, you start at opening efficiencies and all these little, like these joints, these inefficient joints and all of this processing.
It saves a lot of time in a lot of ways for a lot of people.
So networking, not just people, but research interests, right? Cross-disciplinary endeavors. You're doing work, you're considering a new project, and you want to know who's been working on that project. You don't want to step into something that there's just been a flood of work.
So I'm an academic. I know everyone who's working in fields that I'm interested in because I have to read the literature to keep up.
So nowadays,
what if you don't know everyone?
But then you wouldn't be a really good researcher because you wouldn't be keeping up in your field if you didn't know.
So this is a tool that helps you keep up in your field.
Yeah. So and how is it monetized? This is the departments are paying for this average.
Right. So we're building a pilot program right now.
Right.
So we're working with the 2 NYU departments. They're very excited. One is development office.
Yeah.
So they want to showcase their researchers for outside funding.
Okay.
That's a huge use case.
Yeah,
That's
that is
something they've
certainly.
said it's very important to them.
Yeah.
And they do year round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always raising money.
Yeah.
So, and we have warm contacts at Pfizer that we're talking to, competitive intelligence departments, some research departments.
And what's the other academic department here?
Neurobiology.
Neurobiology.
Them too. So
that they would, if they're doing searches, I can see that it's very efficient. I remain healthily skeptical about individual researchers looking for collaborators through something like this, but I can certainly see
maybe I can elaborate
pool
on
or
that.
pharmacy or pharma finding potential people. But, yeah.
So I can give you an elaboration as a researcher, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we
Right.
spend all our days reading the literature,
Right.
digging through many different sources. How do you keep track of that information, right? You want to know who's worked with who. Who are the people that work together? We're going to have network graphs that show you who the common collaborators are.
Okay.
So you can really zero in on people who are top in their field. And it's really hard to tell just because someone is on a review with someone else in a top journal. What's their other work like?
Right.
So right now, the way you do that is you basically keep opening a new tab. Every time you go down that rabbit hole, this paper that they published, you then go read that paper. You click on another link from that paper, you have another tab open. At the end, you have 50 tabs open. None of that data gets written down anywhere or synthesized. With us, you can visually navigate that whole space and see kind of impact of people within their fields, the keywords of what they're working on, so you can zero in on actually higher level abstractions of data.
So how are you tracing the impact? Do you know, for example, that gender issues are being better addressed because people can, in searches, because people can.
Well, so that's right. So that's a big
Right.
issue, right? That's
Right.
something that can be addressed when you have data. So the goal isn't to have like a U.S. News and World Report
No.
static ranking.
Yeah.
It's something you say what's important to you, and you can then find and search using our tool. So if you're interested in gender issues, if you have a team of 20 people in your genetics department, 18 are men, and you want to hire a woman,
Right.
now, how do you make a search for a young, promising woman?
Right.
You send an email to all your
Right.
colleagues and you ask for it. With us, you could actually see who the up-and-coming
Right.
female researchers
So are you able to track through your analytics, what people are searching for and then
Yeah,
what
so-
happens?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a full analytics dashboard of our website's usage. So that data then we can then leverage, if we're understanding what people are looking for, we can, that's how we respond to our users.
Yeah, but it also would enable you to link that to other outcomes.
Of course,
Absolutely.
of course.
Absolutely.
No, we're deeply interested in the analytics potential and being able to tell many different kinds of stories, whether it's women not getting top jobs or being able to find minorities or.
This also tracks how much funding people are getting,
Right.
and they're creating metrics to be able to track efficiency of use of funds, to how that translates into citations and papers and all that.
Right.
Right, so there's more than
Finding
just-
that right now is not so easy.
Yeah, how do
Yeah.
you track impact? If you're a donor that wants to give to something, you want to give to something where your money will go a
Right.
great way. It'll go far in terms of citations or papers or impact in any kind of measurable way.
Yeah.
So that's something that we intend to measure.
No, I certainly applaud that, but I was specifically thinking about measuring the impact of using Bering.
Uh-huh.
So,
Right, so
yeah,
that we have to
right.
be around for a little while before we
Right,
can
no,
tell
but I
that
mean,
story.
you have to set that up. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's our total focus. Like our key thing is data and data visualization and leveraging the information that comes from data. So our
That
whole
applies to our
approach
own
is
data
precise
too.
to that. Like these keywords we extract from research abstracts. The other thing we want to do is get deeper into the data that people generate and extract not only like the direct quantitative stuff like citations, papers, and funding, but things like risk, like risky projects, right? NIH, one of their problems is they fund conservative research because people aren't always revealing their best ideas in the grants. There's a very competitive market. So if you can extract more information from what people are writing, you can give people a higher level of data that they can get just from what's before them.
So just one point I want to make about assessing the impact of Bering. I
Yeah.
mean, that's our goal, is to make the whole process of science more efficient. So scientists have more time to actually do research, to find better collaborations, and so everything works smoother. Publicly funded research actually goes toward researchers doing work and not writing grants. Making the whole process smoother, making all the data available so decisions are more intelligent. It's like the trend in every field, right? You have
Yeah.
data analytics gets applied to finance, things get more efficient, better decisions are made. Same with sports, every
Yeah,
field
I'm
that data analytics touches.
well aware of that. We have a learning analytics degree at Teachers College and many students interested in data science, which just in case you wanted an intern to.
Yeah,
We do. We very much do
That
want
would be very,
interns.
very helpful. So we're definitely looking for interns specific on the data science side.
Mhm.
And this would be very exciting for them because this is a startup environment. They're learning fast. They're getting a lot of exposure. We're using a ton of tools. We use every tool available. We build a lot of tools. So it would be actually, I think, a very fruitful
Right.
engagement with interns.
And from my point of view, I would love to be able to, in 5 years, if I asked you, how do you know that Bering enhanced collaborations or?
We'd be able to point to a big graph.
Exactly. Or it made searches have a broader pool,
Yeah.
or?
The other long-term impact here is this should increase the pool of actual money that gets to the hands of the researchers themselves. More informed giving means a donor doesn't necessarily have to give $10,000 to the American Cancer Society to try and cure cancer. They can go on Bering, type in the type of cancer they're interested in working towards, and essentially send money directly to the researcher who's working on the right thing, doing the right, instead of it getting garnished down by the foundation's overhead and all that, and then the foundation gives maybe 30% to,
And then you have all the
you don't know
college
who it went
overhead,
to.
so it's
Right.
not
Of
as
course.
easy as
Yeah,
you.
so what's
Well-
describing is that we're building a platform. On that platform, you
Right.
can build all kinds of apps, such as donation apps. So you
Uh-huh.
can then allow, because we
Okay.
have all this data, let people give directly to science.
We've set up a conduit to give money directly to researchers.
That's really interesting. I'm curious about how the colleges.
So
manage that.
there are two issues there.
Right.
So when you give a grant to a
Yeah,
researcher,
right.
like those university takes 50 to 60% overhead.
Well, federal, not federal.
Yeah, just.
Right. So, but if you give a gift,
20%.
it's a lot less. So the
Yeah.
idea is that we're giving this as a gift. The researcher,
Right.
signs a deal where they have to apply it to research, not to purchasing.
No, well, I mean, what, your foundations also pay in that range, so it's only federal that's paying, you know.
At some
So-
institutions we've spoken to, it's far less than 20, even
Yeah.
0. So that they take if it's a gift. So
And if it's-
Columbia, I think, takes more than some.
Well,
we've spoken
that
to.
was my pen number,
Yes.
was 20% on gifts. We
Yeah.
at TC don't take anything
Oh.
off gifts.
Okay.
But we also would not want a direct donor to researcher relationship because it wouldn't enable us to support students. It wouldn't, there's a whole bunch of things we want institutionally that we want to build into that gift. We don't right now, when our development department is working with donors, we make it very clear that if you want to fund some faculty work, it costs you this much in students, because that's our main goal. So we would, we want to be involved in that process somehow.
Mhm. So there maybe
Yeah.
are other ways of doing that where
Right.
you can increase donations to the student component separately. And you can, I think overall
Right.
you can have a bigger pool
No, I can
that
see
way.
how the platform
Yeah,
can do
just
it.
avoiding the inefficient charity market, not cutting the university out, working with the development office, letting
Right,
them own it,
exactly.
but
We
disconnecting
al-
donors
We
without.
also think
charities.
something like this could result in an overall increase to just the general pool of people giving to science,
Mhm.
because it makes it really easy. And millennials, for instance, this stuff's very important to the young people these days. It sounds like such an old man comment, but.
I mean, the other thing I'm sure you're gonna try to capture this is whether or not the research is actually translated in.
That's the
Or-
efficiency metric we have.
Well, and having an impact on
Yep,
Mhm.
yep.
Absolutely.
a drug or a.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, so, and that, of course, is a huge challenge to do.
Yep.
I don't know how big a challenge it is to track, but it's a huge challenge to make it impactful.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to have the
Yep.
right dissemination mechanisms and,
And I worked in basic research, so I appreciate
Yeah.
the value of just doing open-ended
Right.
research on basic problems that don't have direct impact, but set the foundation for later discoveries, so.
so that's
It's
also
tricky.
an issue. It is
Yeah,
tricky,
yes,
because
yeah.
people will be
Yep.
drawn to
Right.
things that have immediate
Well,
resonance.
it's
And you
our
can-
job to tell that story well.
Exactly.
Right.
So-
And highlight that stuff to show people that you can actually impact things that you really care about that are like cancer by also funding these other, distributing your giving, right? With technological advances, you can then have people give money and we distribute it according to what's important to them, but knowing that, well, this fundamental research is part of that pipeline. So if you give here and you spread your work, you actually can have tremendous impact that way instead of, people hear American Cancer Society, they think cancer, they go there, but that's actually an inefficient endpoint to kind of allow people to access many points of the supply chain.
So here's a question, you
Yeah.
probably can answer this right now. I'd love to know whether your analytics measures of productivity link up with membership in IOM or National Academy of Engineering.
Mhm.
I was a immediate past president.
Like the
National
correlation
Academy of
between
Education.
who we think is, who we,
Yeah.
our metrics say is is
Mhm.
productive with that.
Yeah.
Because
That's an interesting question.
in the Academy of Education, we're supposedly voting on credentials, but
Looks
a
like
lot of it is who you know to.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
curious.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's very
So we
interesting.
spent all this time talking about us, but what can we call you for? Like, how can we talk to you further? Like, you mentioned interns, and then what else?
Well, we're gonna
Let
talk
me
to
give
our.
you my email
Yeah.
address.
Mhm.
We're gonna talk, you can take a picture of this. We're gonna talk to our data science people and see.
That'd be
Sounds
fantastic.
interesting, all right.
Great.
Follow up.
We
But
can
if
send
you
you
ever
a-
wanna pick my brains as an academic leader, I don't know how many of those you have advising you.
Uh-huh.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. It's, your perspective is very valuable.
And if you have any ideas on for this pilot program, if you have any ideas of people, like for instance, that program you're talking about, or if anybody would want to be a part of that, to help shape this with us,
Well,
that'd be cool.
yeah, I mean, our data science department, but we are not, hiring people in the fields you're right now working on.
I know that Columbia has its own data science department, is that what you're talking about? Or
No,
you're- you have
that's
an
in
internal one?
engineering. We have
Okay.
a learning analytics
Got it.
department. It's more focused on
Got it.
process data around
Okay.
learning. But
Okay.
they have the skills.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm. That's fantastic. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Very nice to meet you.
It was very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Good luck.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We did put it at the top.
Yeah.
Let's just tail sleep from now on.